When I was studying this book, Ecclesiastes, it reminded me of a nursery rhyme that I used to sing when I was a little girl, My Grandfather's Clock. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a penny weight more. It was bought on the morn of the day that he was born, and was always his treasure and pride. But he stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick tock, his life seconds numbering, tick tock, it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. And why was I reminded of this nursery rhyme? Everything will stop, everything will end at some point. You know, your washing machine will break down, your car will stop. There were some cars that many years ago, it was like the thing. Now it's a junk. You know, go to the junkyard. You see so many cars which have been crushed, which once upon a time they were brand new. The pride and joy of the owner, probably cleaning it every Saturday, gave it a name, kissed it in the morning, and it's now, you know, just on the, it's a scrap of metal. And I was thinking of this nursery rhyme, that this grandfather's clock, one day it stopped short and it never went again. So we're now in the book of Ecclesiastes. You know, some people think the preacher is Solomon, some think it's not Solomon. You know, we're not going to argue about it. But sometimes I might say Solomon just to make it easier instead of me saying the preacher. You know, we don't know for sure, but most people do think it's Solomon. I must say, I thought it was Solomon. It's only when I was studying it now to teach that I was seeing different views, thinking it might not be him, it might be him. So I'm not sure. But anyway, the preacher was reminiscing, was thinking about life, you know, what's the purpose of life. So the preacher at this time is probably middle-aged or old, and is now looking back and wondering, pondering, you know, that what is this life? So he came to the conclusion that life is heavy. That means it's a vapor, it's a smoke, it's fleeting, you know, here today and gone tomorrow. So he was saying, you know, just advising the reader or the people who were sitting there listening to the preacher that, you know, the sun will remain, the stars will remain, the moon will be here, the mountains, Mount Everest, you know how many people have climbed that mountain and they died, will still be there, but we will not be. You know, and he talked about life lies. You know, life lies are like when somebody says, when I get married, I will be happy, and they get married and they're not happy, and then they say, okay, when I have a baby, I'll be happy, and they have a baby and they're not happy. Okay, when I get a job, I'll be happy, and they get a job and then they don't want to wake up on Monday morning to go to that job because they're not happy anymore. Okay, or when I make my first million, I'll be happy, and then they make the million and then they want more and they're not happy. These are called life lies. And the preacher was telling the people listening and us reading that all these things are life lies. We think once we attain this level that we'll be content, we'll be happy, but then we want to get to the next level, and then the next level. You know, even the billionaire wants just $1 more, £1 more to make them happy, and then they get that $1 and they're still not satisfied, they still want more. So all these are life lies. So he was saying people will forget. You know, there will come a time when people will not even know that we are here. And I must confess that when I walk along Tower Bridge in London, or the Tower of London, I sometimes do think that once upon a time there were some people, you know, a whole generation of people who walked this Tower Bridge, and they're not here today. None of them are alive today. You know, we don't even know who these people were. You know, we don't know them. And I often think about this. You know, sometimes when I'm walking along the streets of London, especially when it's dark, I'm thinking there were some people who were walking along here once upon a time, just like me, and they're gone. And nobody remembers them. Not even their own family line, like their family tree, knows who these people are. You know, I knew my grandmother. I didn't know my great-grandmother, nor my great-great-grandmother. I didn't know who these people are. But without them, I wouldn't have been here today. You know, and it's a scary thought that there will come a time when no one would know who I am. I mean, now people do know. My children are there. I haven't got any grandkids yet. You know, but there will come a time when no one will even know who Tina was. You know, hopefully YouTube will be around for long after I've gone. So at least maybe when somebody clicks on YouTube and goes to the Bible with Tina, they might just see me and think, who is this woman? Oh, you know, what funny hairstyle, or what funny clothes. Because, you know, at that time, all this would look funny to them. Because when we also look at some olden days films, like films from the 40s or 50s, we think, you know, what are they wearing? But that was fashionable at that time. But now we look at it and think, I'll not be seen dead wearing that. That's how one time somebody's going to look at my clothes on the video and say, I'm not going to be seen dead wearing those clothes. That what does she think she looks like? You know, so the preacher was just saying that enjoy your life, you know, while you can. Don't waste the result of your hard work. Just enjoy yourself, you know, eat and drink. What's the point of working so hard, going to bed late, working so hard, and then you don't even enjoy yourself? So he was saying that there's a time for everything. You know, there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time to plant, a time to harvest. You know, there's a time to build, there's a time to pull down, there's a time to gather, there's a time to scatter, there's a time that you will be led to go into a church where you'll be there, God will use you for a time, and then there'll be a time for you to leave because God needs to use you somewhere else. There is a time for everything, the preacher is saying. You know, so he said, make hay while the sun shines. So when you are in any position, God has placed you in any place at that time, make use of that time. Because it's not going to last forever. It won't last forever. People might think that, yes, I've arrived, I'm here. Presidents, they get removed. Some who don't want to go, they get impeached. You know, some there's a coup and they're forcibly removed. Some get killed, assassinated. There is a time for everything. And no matter which position we are now, God has a hand in it. And He put us there for that time, for that moment. You do what you need to do. When God's time is said, right, that's it, time up. You have to move. You have to move on. So God makes things happen at the right time, for the right reasons. We may not understand it at the time, but God makes everything happen. Anything that happens, it's His own divine way to make it happen. So the preacher was also talking about there are some judges who make wrong judgments because they have been blinded by bribes. They make the innocent guilty, the guilty innocent. He was looking at this, that it's not fair, but then he also saw that God is the just judge, and He will judge all these things. God sees, you know. So he was also thinking about those who cause pain to others, and some people are just here, they just suffer, they suffer all their lives. When I was in the higher education, there was a young lad, one of my classmates, who suffered all his life. His parents died when he was very young. He was an orphan. He was living with his aunt. They managed to send him to school. We went home for Christmas break, over the Christmas break. He did not come back after Christmas. We were all wondering that where is this guy, because he was quite studious. He was very, very serious with his education. He said because he's had a very hard life, so he just wants to study and become somebody, because he doesn't want his children to go through what he went through. He was passed from pillar to post, one family member to the other. Some accused him of being a witch, that he's the one who killed his parents. He must have a demon in him. And he was, you know, and then he didn't come back after holidays, Christmas holidays. So one of the students traveled to the lad's village to find out if he didn't know that we had resumed school, and he thought maybe it was still a week away or something. I was told he died on Christmas Day in an accident. He went out in a vehicle with other people. He was the only person to die. So the preacher is saying that some people just suffer a lot. You know, he said there are those who cause pain to others. He says some people are better off when they are dead. At least the suffering is over. And those who are not born at all, it's even better for them because they have not even experienced all this pain. And he also talked about those who keep up with the Joneses. They want everything that other people want. They want to keep up with their neighbors. When they see that the neighbors have this, they have to go one better. When they see that the neighbor wants, I say all is vanity at the end of the day. All of this is vanity. What is the point of it? Trying to keep up with the Joneses. All is vanity. You will die one day and you will leave all these things behind. Who is going to inherit your property? Is it someone who will carry on your legacy so that at least you haven't labored in vain? Or is it scoundrels who are just going to waste and lavish everything and it's all gone? All your sweat, everything, it's all gone. You've been looking from the grave and you won't be able to do anything about it. So he was talking about lonely people who have lots of wealth and they just keep on working and working and working. He's wondering what for. They don't have anyone to share it with. He was pondering and wondering, what is the point of it? And then he came to that conclusion that two are better than one. At least if one falls, the other one can lift the person up. If one is cold in bed, you can snuggle up to your partner on cold winter nights and get warm. You remember King David, when he was old, he couldn't keep warm. The blankets couldn't keep him warm. They had to get him Abishag, whose duty was just to keep the king warm in bed. So because it takes two to keep you warm. And then the preacher is also saying that we have to be careful how we approach God. When we enter into God's sanctuary, we have to enter with reverence and we have to know how we talk to him. We can't just talk to him anyhow. You can't be too over familiar with God and just think that, well, he's my friend or he's my father, I can speak to him anyhow. The preacher is saying that this is dangerous, that we still need to approach God with reference. I personally, I can't understand those who shout and scream when they are praying. I really don't. They'll be shouting. And what I see this with is, it always reminds me of Elijah and the 450 prophets of Baal. Because the Bible says that the prophets of Baal were shouting and screaming from daybreak till dawn, or night till morning, or morning till night, shouting and screaming and cutting themselves, calling upon their Baal to answer them and light the wood on the altar. So they were screaming and shouting. And the Bible says when they had finished and they had failed, Elijah, he just arranged everything. He put everything back together. They poured water over the sacrifice and he just prayed that you are the Lord God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. And show these people that you are the God of Israel. The Bible doesn't say that Elijah screamed and shouted. He prayed and God answered by fire. So anyway, I'm not here to debate, you're screaming. If that's what you want to do, you can scream. I personally, I don't like screaming when I'm praying. Just go on my knees and God answers me. So you don't need to yell, and do it now, do it now, yeah, God, do it now. You have to come to God in reference, come to him in awe. You can't order him to do it now, It doesn't work like that. And so the preacher also talked about those who abuse their power, because God has put you in that position. You feel that you can abuse your power. You're exploiting the poor, you're exploiting the weak, all of that, it will come to an end one day. And he was saying that money does not satisfy. There's some people, the more money they have, the more they want, the more dependent they get to have. Because when you have money, your family members will all come to you. They'll be asking you for this, asking you for that. So it's more headache. The more money you have, the more responsibilities, and the more money you need to make. And when you have the money, because you have also more responsibilities, you also have your own children. If you don't help your extended family, they will start thinking that you're mean, you don't want to help them, he's not a nice person, she's not a nice person. But it's like the more money you have, the more responsibilities, the more headache. So he was talking about all this, and he's saying that some, even with the money they have, they make bad investments and then they lose everything. It's all gone. So he's saying just enjoy your life, eat and drink, You know, what is the point of running yourself into the ground? What is the point of it at the end? He says some people amass wealth. They cannot enjoy it. Maybe because of sickness. He says they cannot enjoy it. They may have over 100 children. They may even live long. But when they die, they are just buried like a chicken. You know, he says, so what was the point of it? Wasn't it better for that man not to have been born than all of that, to labor and labor and labor, and he couldn't even enjoy it? He left it now for the children. Are they going to invest it, or are they going to just waste it? You know, he said, isn't it better for that person not to have been born? He said we always have to work because there will never be enough. You know, from month to month, we get the money, you pay the bills, you pay the food, you buy your travel card. Before the next month is all gone, you need the next pay and the next pay. He's saying that, you know, it's never enough. He says the day you die is better than the day you were born, because better is the end of a matter than the beginning thereof. When you start a course in uni, that's all right. Anybody can start a course, but not everybody finishes and graduates. Better is the end of a matter than the beginning thereof. You know, it's you can start a project. It's all fine. Anybody can start a project, but better is the end of the matter. Will you see that project through, or is it going to stop by the wayside and you pack it in? Better is the end of a matter than the beginning thereof. I started this the Bible with Tina series to summarize all the books of the Bible. You know, I've started it. Better is the end of a matter. You know, my prayer is that my hands that has laid this foundation will complete the building, so that better is the end of a matter. So he was saying that the day you die is better than the day you were born. Why? Because when you are born, you're a baby, you don't know nothing, you haven't done anything with your life. But the day you die, what are people going to say at the end of your life? What will they be saying there while you are being buried? This person lived a good life. This person was exemplary. You remember that widow in the Bible, when she died, and the other women were crying. They were showing Peter all the things that she made for them. And she made this, and through Peter, by the grace of God, she came back alive. You know, because she was good. You see all the things they were saying. And there are some people that when they die, nobody wants anybody to wake the person up from death. Even if Peter goes to some funerals today, the people that will say, Peter, please don't wake up this dead person. Just let them go, because they were really wicked. And if you wake them up, they will be more wicked. Just leave them. So the day you die is better than the day you were born. He is saying that go to funerals. It will humble you. When you see the dead laid in state, when you see the dead in the coffin, when you see the coffin being lowered into the ground, it will humble you, and it will make you remember that one day this is going to be you, this is going to be me. So go to funerals and see how life is. All that pride, it will come down immediately, because you know that at the end of the day is 6 feet. Everybody is 6 feet. No matter the power you have, no matter who you think you are, at the end of the day, it is 6 feet. It says, don't reminiscence about the good old days. He said it's not wise by saying, oh, when I was young, those days were better than now. I remember 20 years ago was better than now. He said it's not wise. Why is it not wise? Because you cannot bring those days back. They are gone. You know, and I'm sure those days also, they had their own evil. You will not remember about that. It's like one man was saying that it's very, very difficult to marry a widow. He said because the husband, the late husband, he may have been really bad to her. He may have been terrible to her. He wasn't looking after her. And he died. And then she now married another man. They said whenever they have an argument in the house, she will always say that, oh, it's not your fault. It's because my husband died. Ah, that man was so good to me. Oh, that man, oh, God bless his soul. Oh, that man, he could not, it's a lie. The man was not looking after her. But this is what the widow will always say to her husband. Whenever there's a quarrel or a fight in the house, she will always compare him to the late husband who was treating her badly. So he's saying don't reminiscence about the good old days. They are gone. It's gone forever. You can't bring it back. So you forget about it. It says wisdom is valuable. Pass wisdom on to your children. It's not only physical materials you should give to your children when you are dying. Pass on wisdom to them. Sit with your kids. Teach them about how to live in life. Wisdom is valuable. You say God has a purpose for everything, either good or bad. So when you are in the good times, you bless God. When you are in the bad times, remember that that is your time now. So we have good times and we have bad times, and we shall all go through it. And God has a purpose for us during that pain. I can't say it enough. 2017, I was going through so much in the church, and I could not understand why. But later I could, okay, it was a process. God had to take me through that to take me to where I am today. I had to pass through that to get to where I am today. If not, I will not be doing any of this at all. So God has a purpose for our pain. So there are some, the preacher was also saying there are some women out there who are just there to trap men. You have to be careful. Remember Delilah, she succeeded. Potiphar's wife, thank God, she did not succeed with Joseph. So these women are there, they have sweet mouths, sweet tongues, they are honey traps, they are out to trap you. You have to be careful. It says sometimes life is unfair, but that is just how life is. You just have to take the good times and the bad times. It says everybody will die. Every single one of us will die. We have to, so enjoy your wife. She's the wife of your youth. Enjoy her. Take her out to the restaurant once in a while. Take her out to the park. You two can just go strolling. Leave the children at home. Go strolling hand in hand. Remember the days when you did not have children. It was just two of you. Just go out. Book a one night in a hotel. Two of you. Wine and dine each other. Court each other all over again. He said, enjoy your wife. There's no work in the grave. So whatever you are doing now, do it with all your might. Because where you are going, there is no work. It all ends here. He says the race is not to the swift, neither is the battle to the strong. Remember the story of the hare and the tortoise. The hare is fast, the tortoise is very slow. But who won the race? The tortoise. The hare thought he had got this race in the bag. Why does he need to struggle? He ran so fast, he got tired. He got to a place, he sat down and said, let me rest. Tortoise is far behind. After I finish resting, I will carry on. He slept and slept and slept. Tortoise came creeping slowly, creeping slowly. He saw the hare there. He didn't bother, he just crept slowly. The tortoise won the race. The hare could not believe it. So the race is not to the swift, and the battle to the strong. Remember David and Goliath, neither is the battle to the strong. He said he has seen a lot of evil on the earth. Slaves are on horses, princes are walking on the ground. He said this is just evil. This is just wickedness, because it's not supposed to be like that. But that is just how life is. You see some people, they're in some positions where they're not even supposed to be. But that is just how it is. That's just how life is. Life is not fair, but that's just how it is. It says, cast your bread upon the waters, and it will come back to you. Cast it. So it just basically means you should be generous. Just be generous. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because that means don't put all your investments in one bank. If you do that and that bank crashes, you've lost everything. So don't put your eggs in one basket. If the basket breaks, that's the end. It's like the royals when they are traveling. They all don't travel together in the same plane, the same vehicle, just in case it crashes. If not, that's the end of all the royals. Who's going to be on the throne? It's like 2010 when we went to visit Nigeria. All of us, me, my husband, the kids, we were on the same plane. I could not help thinking that if this plane crashes, that's the end of all of us. We did not leave one kid behind. That's all of us together. So it was when we eventually landed and we came home, I was telling my husband, I said, I was thinking that if the plane crashed, that's all of us. We're all gone. Not even one person left behind. And my husband said, well, he thinks that is even better. At least nobody is crying for anyone. I said, no, I don't think so. That all of us should go together. He said, yeah, because those left behind are going to be grieving and mourning. I said, yeah, but they'll get over it. You don't grieve forever. You get over it, and life continues, you know. So in the last chapter, he's talking to the youth. He said they should remember their Creator when they are young. Remember John 21:18, and I read, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you don't want to go. If you go to some care homes and you see some care homes, they don't look after the elderly people there properly at all. So they force feed them. And you can see these old people like shaking their head. They don't want it. And they're force feeding them. It's sad, because you wonder that once upon a time these were strong men and women who could feed themselves. You wouldn't dare do that to them. But they're now old, you know, they rely on other people. These people are feeding them anyhow, treating them like children, dressing them anyhow, having to take them to the loo, wipe, clean up after them, you know. So he's saying, remember your Creator in your youth, you know. So when you are young and you are strong, now you are able to worship the Lord. Now you're able to do things for the Lord. Do it now. Don't wait until you are old. Some people think, okay, when I'm old, then you know, I can give my life to Christ then, because I don't have anything else, and then I will just wait to die, and then I can just go to heaven. You know, why not use your life now while you are strong, while you can still run up and down the stairs? The day one of my daughters did something and I chased her up the stairs, her brother was telling her, I didn't know mommy can run up the stairs like that. I said, well, you think I'm old? Yeah, you know, I'm still a youth. I'm not old. So, you know, remember the Lord while you are young. Use your strength for Him. Now is the time. Tomorrow may be too late. And remember, if the householder knew when the thief was coming, he would have secured his home. So nobody knows the day or the hour. Both young die, old die. Children born the same day they die. We just don't know our days on earth. So just use your days wisely. You know, use it for the Lord, and God will bless you. So thank you everyone for watching. That's Ecclesiastes. I will see you in the next book, Song of Solomon. I am looking forward to that book. Bye.